Hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the $GUI question mark command. Now most of you are familiar with the $GUI, which allows to pass through while you're working on it, but when it goes to the render farm, it turns on. What I'm showing you today is something like that, but with an if-then statement. For those of you who do computer programming or do Python or whatever, you already know what an if-then statement is. But for those who don't do that, an if-then statement says, if this statement is true, do this. If not, do that. And that's basically what the question mark symbol does when you apply it to Nuke. I'm going to show you how that works right now. Take a look. Okay, so here we are in Nuke. As you can see, I created this roto shape. Basically, it is a ball that goes up and over like that with a 2D motion blur and a vector motion blur. And what we've normally do in the past is we like to pass through this. Your standard GUI, $GUI gets added to the disabled, and $GUI, and it passes through. But when it goes to the network, it basically turns itself on. So you don't forget to turn that on. It does it for you automatically. But let me show you what else you can do with that $GUI. It's good. So the $GUI with a question mark allows you to do much more than turn things on and off. Let's suppose we're going to play Let's Pretend that you've done a vector blur or any property for that matter, but it's just too much to work with. This is correct in the comp, but you need it on to work with, but you don't need it on so much. So what you can do is add the $GUI, and then add a question mark, which is the if-then statement. And let's say while you're working, you want the motion blur to be set to 3. When it goes to the render farm, you want it to be set to 12. Okay, so now when you're working with it, right, the motion blur, or in this case, this particular setting is set to 3. But when I kick it off to the network farm, it'll actually be 12 in its full glory of motion blur. So that's just one way you can do it. Okay, so the way this works, once you put the question mark in, anything before that, okay, in your case, you have to do this in reverse, anything before that, it says, hey, look at this statement. What is the command that it is? If it is true, after the question mark, do this. Colon, if it is not true, do this. And that's what's after the question mark. So let me show you an example of that right now. Okay, so here's another way of using the if-then statement that has nothing to do with the $GUI. Suppose we're going to play Let's Pretend that anything before frame 1045 needs to be at a motion blur of 3. And at 1025 on to the end, it needs to be a motion blur of 12. You could go in here and animate this, yes. Or you can come in here and use an expression like a frame that's before 1025 question mark, which is the start of the if-then statement, right? If it's before 1025, make the motion blur 3. If it's not before 1025, so that means everything after, it'll be a motion blur of 12. Let's hit OK, and there we go. So as you can see, the motion blur is set to 3. Once it hits 1025, it jumps to motion blur of 12. So as you can see, the if-then statement can be used for more than just $GUI. It can be used for almost any other command that you need to alter or change, and at a certain point, do something else. So there you have it, the if-then statement with the $GUI. Now, majority of the time, you will be using it with the $GUI. Rarely have I ever used it with any other command besides the $GUI. But as you can see, you can use it with other commands. So hopefully this will help you, give you another little tool in your toolbox of compositing, and I'll see you next time, and have a good day.